Welcome to Omni, episode 56 for May 20th, 2026. Multiple perspectives, one briefing. Here's the news, the perspectives, and the questions worth asking. Putin and Xi's energy pipeline talks amid Middle East tensions could reshape global supply routes and alliances that affect everyday energy costs worldwide. US and Iranian officials exchanged warnings over possible further strikes, while President Trump stated that Tehran seeks a deal. A South Korean oil tanker passed through the Strait of Hormuz, the first such transit since the conflict began, after consultations with Iranian authorities. The vessel proceeded cautiously, according to South Korea's foreign minister. Outlets including The Guardian frame the exchanges as continued brinkmanship that keeps regional shipping lanes under scrutiny, while noting the tanker's passage as a limited sign of operational continuity. Other coverage highlights Trump's insistence on a potential agreement as an opening that could reduce escalation risks for global energy markets. Both sides agree the tanker transit occurred. They differ on whether it signals de-escalation or merely temporary accommodation amid broader threats. How might sustained threats affect shipping insurance rates for companies using the strait? Shifting now to developments in Beijing, Chinese President Xi Jinping made comments interpreted as indirect criticism of U.S. policy during Russian President Putin's visit. The two leaders emphasized past praise for each other and ongoing cooperation. Mail Online presents the remarks as part of China's effort to position itself as a counterweight to U.S. influence. Bloomberg reports Putin's praise for expanding trade and energy links as evidence of a shared vision for international relations. Both outlets note the timing follows recent U.S. warnings. They differ on whether the language signals stronger alignment or routine diplomatic posturing. What specific trade volumes are currently at stake in Russia-China energy deals? Equity markets showed signs of strain as analysts warned that recent gains may reverse amid elevated bond yields and ongoing international conflicts. CNBC highlights mounting analyst caution that equities could soon shift direction after a prolonged advance. Coverage notes that geopolitical events have so far failed to derail gains, yet rising yields are creating new headwinds for valuations. Observers agree recent performance has been strong. They differ on how quickly any reversal might develop. Which sectors are most exposed if bond yields continue climbing? Next, European companies reported their strongest first quarter results in 3 years, driven by energy and technology sectors. Bloomberg emphasizes the role of major energy and tech firms in delivering the gains, while noting potential challenges from slower growth and persistent geopolitical pressures. Coverage frames the results as a temporary bright spot rather than a guaranteed trend. Which industries contributed most to the earnings improvement? Meanwhile, the United Kingdom's inflation rate eased to 2.8%, aided by lower household energy costs from government support measures and reduced wholesale prices prior to recent international developments. BBC News attributes the decline primarily to energy bill reductions, distinguishing this from other inflationary pressures. Coverage notes the timing relative to earlier policy interventions. How long are the energy support measures expected to influence inflation readings? Now, to really understand the Russia-China energy pipeline talks that have surfaced in several of today's stories, most coverage treats announcements as simple bilateral deals. Yet the process involves layered approvals, financing structures, and long-term pricing formulas that can take years to finalize. When politicians say a pipeline is revived, the actual work often includes renegotiating transit fees, securing export licenses, and aligning regulatory standards across borders. Knowing this, when you hear claims of an imminent breakthrough, you can evaluate whether the statement refers to a signed memorandum or merely renewed discussions. Next time you see a headline about a revived pipeline, ask who benefits from the timing of the announcement, what financing mechanisms are proposed, and what historical precedents exist for similar projects stalling after initial fanfare. Tomorrow, watch for further updates on the Australian officials meeting with citizens detained after the Gaza aid flotilla attempt. That wraps up today's OmniView. Remember, the best informed people read more than one perspective. If this show helps you do that, share it with someone who values fair coverage. See you tomorrow. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.